Welcome, Hattiesburg, and a pleasant day to all our listeners. This is Abby, your host for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm here to bring you updates, news, and more from our community. To add to all the excitement today, we have Mississippi Moments with Raylani Branch and News Wrap with Nishranika Pokrio to ensure that you're up to date on all the hottest topics. And guess what? We have a very special guest for you, Dr. Andrew Haley. You definitely want to stay tuned for what we have to share with you today. But before we jump into all the fun, here's a quick message from our sponsors, so hang tight. We'll be right back with more Southern Miss Today.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277, and the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back, folks. In campus news, the SICC Honor Choir concert will take place today. The School of Music presents the Southern Invitational Choral Conference Honor Choir Concert featuring high school and community college singers with world-class guest conductors. The event will take place at the Main Street Baptist Church on 11 Main Street Boulevard today, Tuesday, September 17th at 3:30 p.m. The Student Organization Fall Involvement Fair will be on Thursday. The Office of Leadership and Student Involvement will hold this event for students to get involved with the school and the community. The event will showcase different clubs and organizations that students can become part of. Involvement is important for students to find their place at Southern Miss. Contact the Office of Leadership and Student Involvement at lsi@usm.edu with any questions concerning the event. Join the event on Thursday, September 19th from noon to 1:30 p.m. in the Union and Thad Cochran Center lobbies. Stop by. In Hattiesburg news, Diamond Exertions Lady Edition, a nonprofit group based in Hattiesburg, held a Spread the Love event at Chain Park with multiple health organizations. The organization set up a Project GAP with their mobile pantry in order to hand out food and supplies to the community. Several members of the Youth Challenge Academy from Camp Shelby and other volunteers from the community assisted with the event. If you're interested in helping with the organization, visit diamondexcursionsladyedition.com for more information. In Mississippi news, Jackson St. Dominique's Hospital has adopted a new test in detecting life-threatening condition, sepsis. The hospital is implementing a test in the emergency department to detect sepsis in the patient. The test runs a sample of blood through a machine and measures the likelihood of sepsis in a patient. In international news, students designed a device that alerts communities prone to developing wildfires and won the UK James Dyson Award. Dyson holds the award annually in order to encourage the upcoming vendors to find some solution to different issues. The invention that won this year was biodegradable detector that is made of wax and charcoal that sends radio signals to fires when they are detected. That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. We'll have the latest in sports and weather, so stay tuned. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in our community. To learn more or get involved, call 601-545-7141. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Let's dive into the latest scores, highlights, and sports. Get on your jerseys because it's game time. Our next game will be versus Jackson State on Saturday, September 21st at 2 p.m. Go Eagles! Today, the women's golf team will be playing at Hoover Country Club, and the men's team will be playing today for the Bearcat Interventional at Coldstream Country Club. Head to southernmiss.com to keep up with the Golden Eagles sports activities. As for weather today, look for a low of 69 with a 20% chance of rain and a high of 85. Tomorrow, look for a low of 68 and a high of 88 with a 5% chance of rain. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage with Miss Raylani Branch recalling her chance to go to USM. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. In 1965, Raylani Branch was a young mother trying to make ends meet. She remembers being offered the chance to become one of the first African-American students at Southern Miss.
What brought me to USM, Elaine Armstrong was an 18-year-old high school graduate from Rowan. Her mother was disabled and she wanted to remain in town and go to school, but she was really afraid to go by herself. The NAACP asked me if I would escort Elaine to Southern. When the NAACP told me they would pay my tuition to go to Southern, it was the answer to a dream. It was very, very hard on me. I had no money to live on, had no food. If it had not been for people like Robert Beach, who headed the Delta Ministry, his wife, Alice Beach, at that time, would put together a box of food for me every week. And many, many days, whatever me and my children, whatever I opened that day, 3 or 4 cans, that's what we ate.
To hear more, subscribe to the Mississippi Moments podcast or just like us on Facebook. Mississippi Moments is supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. The humanities are for everyone.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Dr. Andrew Haley, so stick with us while we hear a message from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sippy Beverages. Mr. Sippy Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Southern Miss Student Media is how USM communication students put their education into action. The student prints, Southern Miss Radio, SMTV, and SM2 Creative are the media properties operated by Southern Miss Student Media. You can get your share of the more than $600 million USM brings to the area with help from Southern Miss Student Media. To find out more about how to reach the USM audience, email sm2sales@usm.edu.
Now, please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Dr. Haley. How are you today?
Doing well, thank you.
Awesome. You're here to share some information with visitors that will be speaking at the University Forum. Can you tell us a little bit about the University Forum and what y'all do?
Sure. University Forum is the University of Southern Mississippi's premier speaker series. It has been going on for 50 years. It is for students, it's for faculty, and it's for the Southern Mississippi community. We invite everyone, and it's free into the public, and we just bring world-class speakers from all over the place in the arts, sciences, politics, humanities, social sciences, to talk to us about events that are happening and that we think an informed public needs to know about.
Okay, awesome. Tell us what makes a person a good guest for your University Forum.
Yeah, well, it's always nice if they're a good speaker, but the most important part, right, is that they're talking about something that is relevant, kind of cutting edge. It doesn't matter if it's in the arts or sciences. What we want to do is supplement the education we offer at Southern Miss with speakers who are out there in the world, either making policy or informing folks about new scientific breakthroughs or creating new kinds of music in order to bring those brand new contemporary perspectives to Southern Miss. Awesome.
Tell us about your guest for this evening, Ed Young.
Well, Ed Young is marvelous. I met him for the first time last night, but he is a science journalist, and he worked for years for Atlantic Magazine. In fact, at the time when coronavirus was happening, he was considered the most reliable and important journalist covering the virus itself. But what he does is he takes amazingly complex science and new science, right? And he finds a way of showing, making it accessible to a broader public. So, for example, he wrote a book about microbes, and the book he'll be speaking about at University Forum is called An Immense World, and it looks at the sensory experiences of animals. So to put this in really simple terms, because I'm not a scientist, there are not drug-sniffing humans. There are drug-sniffing dogs, right? Because dogs experience the world, experience smells different than we do. Now multiply that to every animal, every insect, every bird. They all experience the world a little bit differently than we do. So part of what he's doing is sharing brand new science on how various animals and insects and birds experience their world. But then what he does, which is the really amazing part, is he ties that all up together to paint a picture of the world that you and I don't experience, to show us what we're missing in many ways. And I think it's going to be an incredible talk. He's a fantastic speaker. He is a warm and charming individual, and I think it's just going to be a lovely evening. It's tonight, so it's in Bennett Auditorium. That's kind of the home of the University Forum, and it's at 6:30. And he will speak, and there will be plenty of time for question and answers from the audience.
Okay. I'm not sure if you know exactly, but is he like animal sciences? Is that what his specialty is?
So, biological science.
Biological
So
science,
he
okay.
began with a book that was on microbes, the things we cannot see. He moved on to senses, and I understand he's working on a book that looks at the way that space and size matter. So how is it different living in this world for, let's say, an ant and a blue whale?
Speaking of Ed Young, has he been a speaker for y'all before?
No, we try very hard. Occasionally we have speakers who return, sometimes because in a 50-year span, sometimes their lives and their experiences and their knowledge has changed. But we really work very hard to ensure that the speakers who are coming are folks who have not been here before, both because we want to expose everybody in the community to new speakers, but we also want to introduce these movers and shakers to the University of Southern Mississippi.
What's the most common speaker, like their general area, like how his is science? What's the most common one y'all tend to have?
Well, it varies from year to year. We usually try to have at least one speaker who is a writer or a poet. We look for one speaker who engages in science. We often get journalists who may be dealing with politics, or politicians themselves, like Adam Kinzinger from last year. We have had musicians, and we'll have a musician this year. And sometimes, activists, anything. If you are engaged in topics that matter to people, we want you to come to University Forum.
Okay, awesome. This year's the 50th anniversary of the University Forum. What we all have planned for that?
Well, in some ways, we're celebrating this series the way we ran the series. For 50 years, it's been bringing these great speakers, and I think there's no better way to celebrate the anniversary than to just keep bringing great speakers to Southern Mississippi. But we're going to do that with a little bit of cake. On October 8th, our speaker will be Kathleen Koch. Kathleen Koch is a graduate of the University of Southern Mississippi. She was a reporter for CNN for 17 years. She covered the White House and Capitol Hill, but mostly she was a reporter who covered disasters. And so she was really well prepared to cover Katrina when Katrina hit Mississippi. She's actually from Bay St. Louis, and so she based her coverage in Bay St. Louis, and later wrote a book called Rising from Katrina, How My Mississippi Hometown Lost It All and Found What Mattered. And she's going to be coming here not so much to speak about herself as a reporter, but to speak about the kind of energy, commitment, morals that it takes to get ahead. A kind of inspirational message for the 50th anniversary. And then afterwards, we'll go I'll leave Bennett Auditorium, and there will be a bit of a lawn party with some cake and some drinks, and we will celebrate Forum's 50th anniversary. We're also doing short videos. We're showing them before each forum event, and we'll have them posted online as well. And those videos are from students who have attended in the past or faculty who have attended in the past, and they talk about why forum matters to them, and how a particular speaker perhaps changed their lives or spoke to them. And so we're getting a little sentimental over the 50th anniversary. So Kathleen Koch and the anniversary celebration will be on October 8th. All of our events on Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Okay, awesome. And you just mentioned Catherine. What are some other great upcoming events that you have to share with us?
Yeah, our last event of this semester, the fall semester, will be bringing Erin Brockovich to campus. Erin Brockovich is probably better known for the movie Erin Brockovich with Julia Roberts, but she is an environmental activist. A few years ago, she wrote a book called Superman's Not Coming on water crises. And as many of your audience know, Mississippi and Jackson in particular have experienced their own water crises. So she'll be talking to us about the nationwide and Mississippi water crises. And she's a very big advocate of us taking responsibility. She thinks you really can't trust business or government at the end of the day, that it really has to be a people-powered movement. So I won't put any words in her mouth, but I suspect that's where what she'll be talking about. And then in the spring, we have every semester 3 more speakers. We're working with the Armstrong Branch lecture series for our second of those speakers. And I mentioned that because your Mississippi Moments today was about the desegregation of the school, and that will be a speaker not yet named who will speak to issues of race in America. But our first speaker is the current Poet Laureate of the United States, Ada Limon, and she'll be speaking in February. And then at the end of the year, we will have Laki. Laki is a musician. You can look her up online. She's had a couple of hits. She does a bit of soul, a bit of dance music. But Laki is also an activist. She is legally blind, and she has used both her music and the kind of platform it's created for her to advocate for disability rights. In particular, she and the organization she founded helped to ensure that the Grammys are now disabled friendly. So.
Is she the one that you mentioned earlier, the musician that you mentioned earlier?
I don't think so, but we always do try to. We've had musicians come before, and then we've had, speakers in the past who were part-time musicians. One of my favorite of those was the author James McBride, whose work has won all sorts of awards like the National Book Award. We actually got him a little bit earlier in his career, and instead of just reading from his books and talking about his books, he brought his band along and performed as well. So when we can get people to talk about music or to combine music with performances, we always love to do that, or music with a talk or a cause, we always love to do that. So
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Haley, for coming on today and providing insight into what you do.
it is always a pleasure. Your audience is our audience, and we hope everybody will come to Bennett Auditorium this evening at 6:30 to join us for a talk by Ed Young.
Please do stop by. The guests sound very, very interesting overall. Coming up, we've got Nishranika reporting on USM AI workshop.
For Southern Miss Student Media, I'm Nishranika. You cannot go into any field these days without the mention of artificial intelligence. This is also seen in academia. Southern Miss has now made it mandatory for every professor to state their stance on AI, causing much confusion among students. The Center of Student Success is now organizing a student workshop on the proper use of AI. The workshop is titled Using AI or Not Using AI in College Classroom and will take place 4 times over the semester. The workshops will be led by professors in different fields, according to Associate Provost for Faculty Success, Dr. Kelly Lester.
We have 4 faculty who are facilitating the workshops right now. They are Dr. Michelle McLeese, who is in sociology. We have Dr. Kayla Stan, who is in geography. We have Miss Jamie Gavin in finance, and we have Miss Hillary Scales Lewis, who is in theater. And so even as you listen to their disciplinary backgrounds, we did that purposely to be sure that there's broad application and thought process about how AI might be used.
The students of Southern Miss have generally had a positive reaction to the upcoming workshop. Jessica Stresta, a polymer science major, expresses her thoughts on the workshop.
AI is a powerful tool. It has a lot of potential to enhance how we work, study, and even how we approach problems at all. While it's really powerful, I think that knowing how to use it properly is more important than using it at all. I believe a workshop in AI will help us understand how AI can complement our work and not just replace it. A workshop would be really helpful to help us navigate and take advantage of AI in the right way.
Registration for the workshops is still open. So far, over 40 students have already registered for the workshop. For Southern Miss Media, I'm Nishranika.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. We are thankful for Justin Ware, our audio engineer, Michaelan Williams, our film producer, for keeping the birds soaring. We especially want to thank our program director, Shania Williams, our executive producer, Oari, and our assistant producer, Adeline Fields, and our general manager, Dr. Barton, as well as our guest today, Dr. Andrew Haley. That's all for today on Southern Miss Radio. Thank you all for listening. Remember, fly, eagle, fly. I'm your host, Abby Buzigard, signing off. Stay creepy.
Sponsorship comes from Southern Beverage, your local Michelob Ultra distributor. Michelob Ultra has significantly fewer carbs and calories per serving if you are watching those in your diet. You can reach Southern Beverage by phone at 601-268-9111, or you can find them on the internet at southernbeverage.com. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri, and Southern Beverage ask you to please drink responsibly. Recognition for your business or product. Appreciation from a dedicated audience. And establishing yourself as a caring member of the Hattiesburg community are only a few of the benefits of sponsoring programming on WUSM. In addition, our very cost-effective underwriting rates are tax-deductible. To learn more about the upsides of underwriting programming on WUSM, call 601-266